We don't have to test for a while on those, for one, and then we'll be able to put in a waiver to keep those ones online. So I'm hoping that that's going to decrease because of less testing. So I dropped it down 2,500 based on that reasoning, that I feel there's going to be less testing. I don't know for sure. I have to get a updated print off from the state, but just the cycles that we've been on, I believe that we're going to do a down cycle for a year.
We spent less than 1,500 this year.
Right, but we haven't hit our fourth quarter yet, which we got fourth quarter testing that hasn't been placed on there. And
what is it, a test? Any idea?
It depends on the test, depends on the price.
Okay.
Some tests cost more. I mean, there's tests we have to send to Florida that there's only a couple of places in the United States that test for certain things.
And that's a requirement that we have to do?
Mm-hmm. And we have to take the samples and we have to send them. Matter of fact, I think I explained this at one point to the commissioners, because the state went to digitalizing everything. This company that we normally directly sent them to, they don't do the digitalizing, so they wouldn't take them anymore. So we had to go to a middleman who sends them to the same place we always sent them, but they do the digitalizing for the state. So each test is different of cost. Most of our tests that we do, I would say a good percentage of them are all done at the state lab. We take them down to the state of New Hampshire.
Okay, you ought to have itemized under other services the $800. Office supplies are the same. Dues, licenses, subscriptions are down $200.
Again, I lowered that because this cycle, it hasn't hit. You're not seeing it on here yet because we haven't got our renewals in, but they're due in December is when they'll be paying them, so they're good. So we shouldn't have to pay them next year. So I lowered that. It'll be every other year when that gets hit.
We only spent $182 on the uniform expenses.
That's not fully updated because as we're talking right now, there's been other things sent in that's being processed right now. You'll probably see, when you side checks this week, you'll probably see some of those.
So you want to keep that the same?
Yes.
Electric expenses reduced?
I reduced that basically looking off the history of 2009 and 2010. I lowered it because of those, and I thought that I've heard some talk of electricity being, I don't know if you guys are doing a cooperation with other counties type thing.
Yep.
So just looking at the history and hearing those things, I just took a stab of lowering it a little bit in hopes of saving some money. We haven't exceeded that amount, so I thought we could try to do that.
Okay, if you added up the telephone expense for your responsibilities, you're talking about $2,950
For the telephone?
for telephone total.
2,009.
That includes waterworks and maintenance.
Oh, okay.
And
all
is
the
there some
budgets.
under the farm too?
There's probably, I think the farm does have 1,100 under the farm for telephone. Yes, we budget $1,100.
So that's $4,000 for the total telephone expense. That all comes into that same building note.
Well,
Is there a computer on that telephone expense? The report from up on the
Yes.
mountain down?
sends a report every day. I'm kind of
So
confused.
that's included in that?
Yes, that's included in that. Also, if you're adding all four telephone, also that covers all the cell phones that the employees have to carry because we were watching inmates and
Yep.
we need to be on call.
Yep.
It includes a pager that has a pager system for that skeeter system that you're talking about up there on the hill. So when it gets to low levels or something goes wrong, it'll send a page.
Yep.
It also sends a daily report that's included in that, and
Okay.
I believe
Okay.
all that stuff. So I don't think I've changed anything else all the way down. If you get down to the grand total on the bottom, we're actually $1,000 less than we were last year. And my history of being here, I think that we see that in the water department because of water testing and licensing and things of those natures. Every other year, they can go up a little bit or down a little bit. That's just kind of been what's happened since I've been here.
What do you plan on buying under new equipment?
Under new equipment, I don't have a specific, that one, just like for this year, there's a few things that I would have bought, but I was going to take that $1,500 and put it towards the plow truck if we needed to. So I don't have a specific tool, but it's for various tools. I put that in there. Things come up I can't predict in water and sewer, and that's what I have, both of those new equipments. I keep it between $1,000 to $1,500, and every year I'm asked the same thing, and I don't have a specific tool, but throughout the year something breaks, something comes up, that's where I will take it out of.
Well, in 2009 you spent $3,000, in 2010 you spent $1,700, but you didn't spend anything in 2011.
Right.
Okay.
And I don't have, right now, as between now and December, I really don't have anything planned with that, so either we would spend it on the truck if we needed to, or I would turn it back.
Okay.
So that, I'm not going to spend it if I don't need it.
Great. Okay, let's look at revenue real quick.
You have the maintenance income. I left that at $20,000. There's not been any real changes with that as far as I can see.
All right, explain the maintenance income. Is that strictly a paper shovel from
It is.
other departments?
Right. It's not a revenue. It's not hard money coming in. It's basically a wash from one department to the next.
It's a wash that way, but that department has to raise that money. If they didn't use you, they'd be using somebody else. So they have to raise that money.
Right, but since they use us, the money doesn't.
Yep.
It comes right back to the general fund, basically.
Yep. Okay. Farm income?
Farm income, I've left the produce the same. The numbers that you're seeing for September there, I believe that they're not fully accurate. I keep an up-to-date, weekly accurate revenue count in my office, and it's higher than that. We didn't make as much as last year, but I want to say we're around $5,000 that we made this year. I put in for $3,500 again. I want to make sure that we can consistently hit numbers before I start to increase that. Last year I increased it from 25 to 35, I believe it was, and when we hit that again, so next year maybe we'll increase it if things are going good. Hay is at 35,000. I believe we're extremely close. If not, we've already just about hit that number this year for the 35,000. Squeaking it out. I mean, it was a tight year. We didn't get a lot of second cut because our fields were very wet, and we've had a wet fall. So I don't want to increase that at all. The wood sales, I've increased them from 26 to 30, $4,000. I feel that's a conservative number. Again, I tend to give conservative numbers in the revenues. I want to make sure I can hit them. If it's extra, I feel that's good, but I want to make sure I can hit it. And I think budgeting out, we've made pretty close to 30,000 this year already on it, and I think that we'll make that at least next year.
Okay.
The maintenance income and use of equipment, I've left it the same. I think that, in all fairness to the farm, that we have a big issue that we need to address, especially with probably what the nursing home budgets for their snow removal or their lawn care. That's dramatically increased what they have over there. So I don't know what they budget. I'm assuming they're probably going to put in their budget what they've done every year. That's why I've left it the same.
Yeah.
But in the future, it's something that we need to review if we're going to get proper credit for it. We need to make that happen. Like I presented that for the plowing last year. We were, saved the county $50,000 by us doing the plowing. And all we can say is that we save them. We can't. It's not reflected in any numbers.
Right.
And when we go to the delegation, they want to see numbers usually.
Okay.
So it's something that I've left alone, but it's something that I think in the future we need to investigate it a little bit better of how we want to do that.
And use of equipment?
Right, same thing, the 45,000.
Okay, anybody got any questions?
The last thing I had for the commissioners that I would like to propose and ask for is under a capital expenditure for this year. This is a piece of equipment that makes us a lot of money at the county. And
Yeah, next to Wolf.
yes, I do. Yep. Oops, sorry. I think I have more. Okay. Our wood processor. Last year, to back up a little history, last year we started the campfire wood program. We made enough, what I considered. I asked for a certain amount of money for a pole barn, and we went through that whole struggle last year. We're in the midst of building it slowly but surely. And I believe between last year's money and this year's money that the actual profit that we made, and I think I showed that to the commissioners at one time, we paid for that pole barn in the 2 years. The next thing that really needs, biggest piece of equipment on the farm that makes a lot of money that needs to be replaced, that is very inefficient, what we have, it's breaking down, is our wood processor. It's 8 to 9 years old right now. It currently takes to do our process, it takes 3 staff members along with half a dozen to 10 inmates to do our wood processing. And to give a little background of what that consists of, first we get the log length in. I have to cut it with a chainsaw to 4 foot. The inmates pick that 4 foot piece up, they put it on our processor, goes through it, cuts it 16 inches, drops down, splits it, puts it in the back of the truck. The truck goes, so it takes a staff member to run that processor, a staff member to run the chainsaw, takes that truck over, we dump it and we stack it so that it dries and we have good quality wood, which has been shown, I think, over and over. And that takes another staff member to help stack and to supervise the inmates so that we have eyes on all the inmates. That's 3 staff members. Parts are hard to get. It's a foreign-made machine. Things are starting to break down. We've had to, rig them up the best we can to keep it going. It's had a lot more. I believe that it's designed to do more of a large homeowner type version. 20, 30 cords a year. We're running 100 plus through it every year. So at 8 to 9 years old, it's getting wore out, and parts are hard to come by. They're hard to get. There's only one dealer, and he has a hard time getting parts from what he's explained to us in the past. So what I'm asking for in here is a new wood processor. This particular one doesn't mean we have to go with this one. I've just done some research on it. Before I would come to ask you to buy one, I would have more research and I would look at other ones also. But this particular one gives us a good base, I believe, off of what to budget for, because this is the machine that would do what I feel we need to have done out there. It is going to be new. It's a Timberwolf, which they're manufactured in Rutland, Vermont. It's an American-made product. Locally here, we have 2 dealers that we currently buy with that are dealers of these, and they can get the parts in, order the parts in quite quickly for us. Which is a big thing to me because we've taken on a lot of things on the farm and with outside maintenance. We have a shorter time of window nowadays to complete what we're doing for wood compared to what they used to have back in the day for this farm. So we need something that's a little more efficient. Along with that efficiency, you take the logs with the tractor that we have, the backhoe, we can load them on, log length, then the person goes over and he runs levers. And when he starts running levers, it's going to bring it down, it's going to feed it through, it's going to cut it at 16 inches, the whole log. It's going to drop them into the splitter, split it, put it on the conveyor, dump it in the truck, all with one. So now I've eliminated 1 staff member out of that position. I've eliminated probably 3 to 4 inmates out of that first part of the process. This is going to do probably 3.5 cords an hour. That's how fast it's going to cut, split, and split it. Not stack it. So we get efficiency with how many employees that we have to do with it. There was something else I was going to mention to you about it also. Oh, it's
still run by a chainsaw?
This one still is run by a 25-inch bar, I believe, chainsaw bar with the bigger blade on it, a bigger chain on it. It also comes in a trailer, so it's portable. This is portable, such as what I'm looking at doing in the future is getting some wood cuts done up on the hill. So we could take this, pull it behind